First, we look to China's southern Hunan province. That's where locals say police officers have been collecting blood samples for residents. They're thought to be acting on orders from the Chinese regime. So far, the officers have provided no explanation. On top of that, the police officers reportedly haven't taken any measures to prevent the spread of the CCP or Chinese Communist Party virus. One villager, Li Yuan, told us that police didn't show any documentation when they came to collect samples. To protect his identity, we gave him a pseudonym.
He didn't have any relevant documents. If a certain department wants to collect blood, it must have relevant documents and must show them to everyone to make it clear. It doesn't work if they just do it at will this way.
Li said the person who collected his blood refused to tell him why the samples were being taken.
He said that the police station asked him to collect blood. He told me not to ask too many questions as if it's very confidential.
Li explained that many of the locals didn't want to give samples, but because the police officers came in uniform, they felt pressured into submitting. Li added that he felt the same way. He also recalled that no medical personnel were present when the blood samples were collected.
Many people have had their blood collected. I called them to ask about it. Now they're panicking. It's because of the virus transmission risk. Everyone was afraid and didn't know what was going on. What if it's contagious?
Later, Li asked his village chief and the head of the police station what the samples were needed for, but they told him they didn't know either. Locals say police mainly took samples from adult men. This isn't the first case of mass blood sampling in China. The Uyghur ethnic group in the Xinjiang region was subjected to it, as well as Christians and practitioners of Falun Gong, a spiritual meditation discipline that's been brutally persecuted by the regime for over 20 years. Other Chinese people also had blood samples taken, including those who were viewed as enemies of the regime, like human rights activists and dissidents. In the early 2000s, China's Ministry of Public Security began to establish a nationwide DNA database. According to Human Rights Watch, China's DNA collection practices may not be specifically linked to criminal investigations. Public security officers collect a large number of biological data from ordinary citizens. That's because the collection of so-called basic information is considered one of the regime's goals. But according to Chinese law, the collection of DNA samples by public security agencies should be limited to specific criminal cases. NTD News.